Hi, I'm Cordency, and today I'm playing Duelyst, an online multiplayer collectible card game. Well, multiplayer in the sense that you play against one other person. This is a very similar game to the granddaddy of the genre, which is Magic the Gathering, and I've played quite a bit of Magic the Gathering in my time, so be warned, there are comparisons incoming. And also, like Magic the Gathering, when played on a computer, it is free to play. So you can get the basic game for free, and then you might have to pay for stuff after that. It's up to you, but I'll talk more about it later. And I also want to start with an apology. Duelyst did not like my recording program, so I'm having to record this audio later, so it probably won't sync up very well with the video you're seeing. And also, there are various artifacts and little skipping in the video, so apologies for that. It actually runs really smoothly when I played it. It's just didn't work very well with DxToy. Okay, so in Duelyst you play as a general from one of 6 factions.
Abyssian versus Lionar.
And there's loads of lore and documentation about what these generals and their factions and all this sort of things. But I haven't read it, and you don't need to. If you want to, it's all there. And you go into a one-on-one duel with another general, which may be the computer or it may be online. And the battlefield is this small grid. Each creature or general, each minion or general can move 2 squares in a straight line or 1 square diagonally. And you can see the graphics here are all essentially 8-bit graphics. I'm not really sure why, because some of the graphics are like the creatures and the generals are 8-bit graphics, but in other places it's all very nice art. So I'm not sure why they chose to do that. I'm told that 8-bit graphics is just as hard as other sort of graphics, so I'm guessing it's a specific design decision on the behalf of the developers. I'm just not sure why that is. So on this battlefield, your weapons are spells, and these spells can summon creatures, do damage to other creatures, or create artifacts to improve your general and various other buffs or debuffs, or remove enemy spells, the standard things that you find in these card games. As very common in these games, casting spells is performed by using your mana. Although you start with 2 to 3 and then you mana, and then you just get 1 extra every turn. So the next turn you have 3 mana, the next turn up that 4, 5, 6, so on up. And at the end of each turn, any mana you don't use is lost. And also these spheres on the battleground can add 1 for the first 1 mana for the first creature that lands on them. The creatures, including the minions, including the general, have strength, health, and various abilities, all very standard. If you hit an opponent, you do your strength damage. You take their strength from their health. But interestingly, the target always gets the chance to do the same back to you, or automatically does the same back to you. So if you hit them, they're definitely going to hit you. So it's an interesting point in the way it works. And the game is over when your general gets to 0 health. You keep playing until then, and each turn you draw out another card. So each of these factions tends towards a certain playstyle. Here I am playing Lionar, sort of hardy knights. Tends to be a lot of health in these creatures, and I'm playing against who seem to play with lots of small creatures and removal. Now there's also common cards that all factions have, and the other factions again are different. Again, there's like a dinosaur one and like a dervish one, sort of artifact one. It suits different play styles. And my tactics here are to try and corner the enemy general and remove as much of the little stuff they're creating as possible, and you'll see as it goes on that I do not do a very good job. At least in the games I've played so far, you get more and better cards as you play. So each time you play, at the end of each game, you might get a couple of cards, you might get a few coins to get better cards, or people can pay to get better cards. And that's the basics. Maneuver, cast, bash, repeat until over, collect new cards, and do it again. There's an online league with monthly seasons, and in a nice touch, at least at the lower levels where I am, losing does not actually lose your ranking. So each time you win, you get a better rank. But if you lose, you stay where you are, which is, I think, a nice touch. There's a large collection of possible cards, and it's possible to make your own decks. Here I'm playing with the standard deck. I tried creating my own decks, and it really didn't make any difference to my main problem, which is I found that this game is largely pay to win. The cards are gained, if you don't pay money, the cards are gained slowly by winning or losing, or by completing quests. And there are a lot of these quests. There's a lot of gamification. There's always, do this little thing and you get 10 gold. Do that other little thing and you unlock a feature and get 5 gold. There's tons and tons of them, and more coming every day. And this gold that you earn, you can use to buy cosmetics, change like the look of various things on the game, or you can use them to buy orbs, and then the orbs can be converted to cards in a very nice little process, which I'll show you at the end of this video. However, paying real money, actual cash, is by far the fastest way to get cards. It's not even close. I mean, going through the quests will be a real grind compared to paying just a little bit of money. It's about as much money as you play in another game, and suddenly you've got a huge swathe of cards. And in probably half the games I've played, and remember this is at the lowest and easiest levels of the game, half the games I've played, I've just got crushed, absolutely destroyed by people with hugely better cards than me. And yeah, this is the bottom of the league, so either they played for ages to grind the cards but weren't good enough somehow to get into higher levels, or they've just started, or they've paid money. And I suspect it's largely the latter, that these people have paid their money, they've enjoyed the game, they decide they want to play more, they've put in a bit of money, they've got a huge load of cards, and now they can just crush all the other beginners who haven't, like me. But apart from that problem, it is actually, I think, quite a good game, definitely a decent game. I certainly don't regret having started playing it. Of course, there's this big downside there that's probably going to stop me from going any further. It's either really a case of expect to spend weeks grinding away to earn the cards, or pay some money, or stop playing. And, well, I haven't decided yet, but I'm tending towards the latter. But yeah, if you're a listener to the show and you haven't played before, I would definitely recommend that you give it a try. Maybe you'll like it enough to pay the money, or maybe you'll like it enough as it is just to grind it out. Okay, and now as an old-time Magic player, here come the comparisons with Magic, and in particular Magic the Gathering, the Duels game, the Magic the Gathering's free online computer version. Okay, so for those who don't know, Magic the Gathering. Okay, so for those who don't know, Magic the Gathering is another collectible card game, very similar. It was created in the 90s and specifically designed for tabletop play, so people playing in person against each other. And it's incredibly successful. Many others have come and gone, but now for what over 20 years, Magic is still around because it's actually a very good game. But some of the choices that were made in the early days about how Magic should work have meant that it really does not work on a computer, not very well. And one of those is that, of course, Magic is the original pay-to-win game. I mean, take a look online for the prices of some of the cards, and it's like $80, $100 US dollars to buy some of the best cards. And new cards come out, I think 3 or 4 times a year, so you've always got more cards to get. It's a hugely profitable business. My kudos to the people who designed it from a business point of view, and from a tabletop point of view. When you're in person, it's not bad. It's a decent game. On a computer, not so good. And one of the main reasons for that is because whereas in Duelyst you get the mana just given to you, in Magic, mana for casting spells is earned by drawing the cards and playing particular cards. And very often you'll have too many of them or too few of them, and that means you're screwed. And that's actually what's become known. The standard term is being mana screwed. That means when you have either too many mana cards and so not enough other cards, or you have too few mana cards and so you can't play your other cards. And that's incredibly frustrating. And when that happens, it's not a particularly good game. And in online games, I found that happens on duels. That happens about 25% of the time. And it's so lopsided, it's really not much fun to play it. And as a result, normally when that starts to happen, one person, normally the person who's got the problem, will just concede. And I've very regularly, when I played duels, people would quit before the first card had been played because they just realized their hand was so poor, there was no point, quit out, that's it. So Duelyst just gives you the mana each turn, and that's a much better system, much better than duels, and makes it much easier and more gamer friendly, that you can actually just get down to playing rather than wondering, is this one of the games where it's just going to be pointless. And also Magic has this idea of instants where particular cards can be played by anyone at any time. And when you're online, that means you have to constantly wait. When you play a card, you've got to constantly wait because maybe your opponent will be playing one of their instants, so you've got to wait for them. And that just slows things down and unnecessarily in an online game. So Duelyst makes fixes by on your turn you can play cards and your opponent can't. Much better. So on each turn you play your cards, then on their turn your opponent plays their cards. I mean, these two things by themselves are a huge improvement over Magic in terms of playability. A lesser improvement I found in Duelyst is that your general is in the game. In Magic, the controlling character is aloof, but in Duelyst, it's there. Your general is there on the field of play, and it gives you a greater sense of attachment to see your general, which is essentially your game avatar. It's you in the game, is on the field. Alright, and I'll just interrupt here to say here is where you can see the process of converting orbs to cards. And you can see it's very well produced, very slick. Definitely not 8-bit graphics going on here. It makes you want to do more. I did all of mine in one go. It was so much fun just seeing what I got. It's like a little bit of gambling, which I guess is perhaps the point. Anyway, back to what I was saying. And when you see your generals grappling for survival or buffed to near invincibility, it's really promotes engagement in the game, and that's it's definitely promotes a good feeling for the player, or a greater attachment to the game. So that's a nice touch, but other changes make less or little difference. For instance, having movement at first, having a board which you move around at first seemed like a really great idea, and in the early games I really liked the idea. But after playing more often, the board just seems too small. It's easily flooded, and moving around tends to have little impact beyond bit of removal or a bit of delaying. For those people who play Magic, it'd be the equivalent of a ability to tap your opponent's creatures. You move them out of the way, or you move yourself out of the way. Most games really, it didn't matter much in the end, and they just came down to just bash fests of creatures bashing each other, rather than there's intricate maneuver warfare going on. Just didn't seem to happen. Maybe it's in the lower levels. Similarly, the hit response, when you hit a creature, the fact that it can it will hit you back. And that initially also seemed like a good idea, but again, it just became a bit of a washout over time as you played more. Because when the bashing begins, that's it. It's just bang, bang, bang. Often no one seemed to have a clear advantage until the luck of the cards played out. Someone started drawing better cards, or it saved better cards. And that's normally often what won them for them in a large number of the games. And so that's just down to luck, or good deck building, or the fact that maybe the other player or one of the players has paid money to get the best cards. back to that old pay-to-win problem, at least for beginners. Until you build up all the card collection. Anyway, so in conclusion, I think that Duelyst is on the computer. When playing on the computer, Duelyst is better than Magic Duels, and it's made some good improvements. But in general, I only consider it a partial success. There is still, while they've improved some of the more sort of the bigger issue things, some core problems still exist. As I've mentioned, and these problems, they're still there. Although, despite that, I still think it's definitely worth a try. It's free. Give it a go. See if you like it, and then go from there. Like me, you probably won't be paying me in jewels. Let's put it that way. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.